So over the weekend, you're going to get the major launch, which is going to have the spillover effect over the next couple of weeks. And that is Skye at Holland that's going to launch first, followed by Penrith. And we have so many other launches coming up. The question is, are you as an investor or as a homeowner confused by some of all these launches? And most importantly, what's actually driving the prices up? So today we're going to talk about Skye at Holland and using Penrith as a main example to share with you why the prices are actually heading up. So today, if let's say this is your first time joining us and you have not been following us, now's the best time to actually put in the subscribe button as well as like the video and share this video with those who may be confused about what is happening. So stay through all the way to the end of the video because I'll be covering what is actually driving the prices up in today's marketplace and what are the factors that actually contributes to this that you as a homeowner must be aware of. So today in this video, I'm going to also break it down into different parts. And we have some latest information regarding Penrith as well as Skye at Holland I'm going to share with you. And just as of now, we just gotten the latest update regarding Skye at Holland. So if you are looking to actually go for the viewing of Skye at Holland or even Penrith, right, then you want to continue watch this video. Because right now, as you can see, for Skye at Holland, the square foot per PPR from a launch perspective is considered one of the lowest, right? And also one of the key things that today you must also understand that today, based on our future launches, what is going to happen to the next like Rivergreen parcel, which will be even higher, as well as Bayhore, which is already in the OCR market, you will be able to see that they are per square foot per PPR as already much higher. And these are all awarded in the 2025 range. And why am I sharing with you this? Because later on, I'll also be sharing with you what are the upcoming land sites that has been bidded, what is the pricing, and today, if you don't pull the trigger to enter the market, what would it be like for you in the next couple of months or in the next couple of weeks? This will be kind of a projection into the whole marketplace at the same time. So using the sentiment of what is happening right now, right? You can see that with Skye at Holland, in terms of the land prices, purchasing at about 1,285 per square foot. Subsequent, all the future launches will definitely be much, much higher. You have Rivergreen, which is already 1,400. Bayshore, which is OCR, already 1,380. Then we have Dunedin Road, which is the CCR zone, that are already crossing 1,410 per square foot per PPR. And then you have the infamous Chuan Grove. Okay, so we all know how Chuan Park has performed, and at the same time, you can see that the per square foot per PPR is $1,376. And of course, when you have Holland Link, which is a very much in terms of direct comparison between Skye at Holland as well as Holland Link, you can see that we are talking about easily about $200 per square foot difference. I think this is also one of the reasons why we are seeing a lot of movement regarding Skye at Holland as well as some of the upcoming launches, because a lot of their per square foot per PPR for land is much lower than the future upcoming ones, which is just in a couple of months. We'll be heading into 2026. So potentially that's how it's going to happen. And we have just gotten the latest news for those of you who are actually going for Skye at Holland to kind of take a look. We have the indicative prices, and again, also all these prices are what was actually already updated, and we can see that it's very attractive, to be able to buy and secure a unit in Skye at Holland. You can see from a 2-bedroom perspective, the starting price is ranging from about 1.51 million, and per square foot on an estimate is about $2,600 per square foot. So if let's say today you're going for Skye at Holland or even some of the other upcoming launches, you can use this as a benchmark to kind of guide yourself in to the purchase and what kind of price point you should be walking away as well. So let's just look at from our average 3 bedrooms, they all will be starting from about 2.4 million. Okay, and I think this is very decent because of the space, right? And with harmonization involved, a 915 square feet, in the past, it could be spelled as too small. Okay, especially for some of us where we have seen properties that is 915 square feet, which is already a 2+ study. So a 915 square feet for 3 bedroom, how will it be able to fit? So with the new harmonization guideline, right, the placement, should I say, in terms of layout, is very efficient. And that's why they are also trying to keep, in terms of the overall quantum, acceptable at 2.4 million. I think this is a very comfortable entry, especially you're getting in Holland. And even their 4-bedroom with the private lift, we're talking only just slightly above 3 million, you're able to get one in such a prime location. So the strategy, if you are going for Skye or Holland, if money is not a concern, you will definitely want to go for the higher floor units. But do take note, I believe with the higher it goes, the per floor level jump will also be very, very high because of the prestige and the unblock that you're going to get. So right now, what we are seeing is that we have quite a fair bit of launches coming out. Skye Holland is happening already, currently. All right, so if let's say any one of you are you needed some help and you need to seek a second opinion whether any of these launches coming up is ideal for you, you can actually scan the QR code and reach out to us, and let's see how we're able to guide you through so that you don't mess up this new launch season, right? Because sometimes there'll be overhyped projects going on. There'll be a lot of news about certain projects, and then when you see certain prices, you're like, wow, this is so cheap, and then you jump right into it, which is something that we always discourage, because from a smart investor perspective, you need to really do your numbers correctly, do certain comparison, whether it's in the past, current, and in the future around the surrounding prices at the same time. So, but if let's say you are kind of confused, why is this happening? Should I be entering to the property market? Then you can scan the QR code and reach out to us, and we will see how we can actually guide you through in terms of achieving the ultimate goal that you want in your property. All right. So moving forward, I just want to give you a quick overview about what happened in the past for some of the GLS land sites that we have tabulated to give you a indication, so that you kind of use that as a benchmark to understand what happens to GLS land sites, because that is a direct correlation to how the future selling price is going to be, right? Because once the land price has been bidded, there's a certain margin of cost that the developer will have to place in, plus their effectiveness is what we call their profit margin. I mean, how much is it that they're going to do? So all developers, I don't think they will want to lose money in any developments. Ultimately, we are talking about billions of dollars. So they are also very careful to tread during this market where maybe the economy from an outlook, it doesn't seem to be rosy, and there will be a lot of questioning about retrenchment going on. Economy is not so comfortable. So then, to you as a homeowner, are you buying into all these news or noises that we call it, or are you really trending this through using research data and numbers to guide yourself into the right position? So because for most of the land sites, all these are already sold since 2024 and all the way in the first half of 2025. You can see most of the land parcels bidded, they are very attractive. Now we're talking about even Rivergreen area at already 1,420 and Bayhore already 1,388. Fund Grove just now I shared, and Holland Lane, and all these are just a few months from the previous GLS slide. So you must understand, every year when government land sales are being released, there will always be an increase of percentage. Why? Because in Singapore, land scarcity is real. Okay, we do not have enough land. So it will be almost impossible that the land sold to the developers are going to be reducing itself and not increase. So this is something that you have to be very careful about. And that's the reason why we also help our clients track year on year how many land sites are being released, what is the prices, how many bidders for it. So this gives us a good overview of what potentially is going to happen in the next 2 to 3 years down the road. And this will help us to navigate better as we enter the property market as well as exit the property market. So you want to really later on really just follow through the video, because later on I'll be sharing with you what is actually driving up the entire market cycle. What happened? Why is it that prices keep going up? What is the main indicator, or should I say the driving force behind this? So there are a lot of noises going out to say that, oh, it's because the rich people are buying the property, that's why our prices went up. There are also another camp that says, oh, the foreigners are still buying, that's why our prices goes up. So later on, stay through all the way to the video, because I'll be sharing with you the fundamentals of how property should be seen, like you and me, instead of reading signals of all these noises that's out there that's confusing you at the same time. All right. So with this, you can also take a look that recently we also have the Chuan Grove site that has been purchased at 1,331. So don't confuse this with the previous Chuan Grove. This is another site beside it, and it was under a JV and already transacted at $1,331 per square foot. And moving forward this year, we also have Chencharu. Chencharu also just sold at 1.01 billion. Okay, 1.01 billion. So that translates to about $980 per square foot per PPR. Okay, so this is one of the site that is in Yishun area that I think it was also very surprising that there's still interest in areas like this, even though some of us we may feel that hey, it's a little bit too far. But I believe from a master plan perspective that we have studied, a lot of the movements in the next 5 to even 8 years down the road are going to happen in the north. Okay, in the north side, there's going to be a lot more transformations going on. And one of the key reasons why is because it has been kind of muted in terms of development for the longest time. And this is also a reason if you go to Sembawang, Yishun, even Woodlands, the prices there are not really increased yet. So there's a lot of potentials out there. But of course, from a sentiment perspective, you may be thinking, so far, how long is it going to be transformed? That's the reason why if you're guessing yourself into the marketplace, then you're going to be in trouble. So let me warn you first on that. All right, so Cindior also gotten out quite a fair numbers. And if we look at ever since the first half of 2025, all the GRS, and what happened for the future, okay, what is going to happen in the next couple of months that we are seeing some of the sites. So we already have Cindior that has really been transacted, okay, in terms of bid. And then we have Cindior Close, which is EC, a Woodlands EC. You can see that the EC are already climbing over about $700 per square foot. So if the ECs are already climbing about 700 plus per square foot for the land, then from a private property perspective, there's definitely some increment that we have to accept. And likely Cindior will also be launching close to about $2,000 per square foot and above. So this is something that you need to kind of do a reality check. Okay, the quicker that you can accept this reality, okay, the smoother you are able to move forward with your plan and not stay in the past where we keep thinking, how can the property in Woodlands cross $2,000 per square foot? Okay, how many of you can still remember when Woodlands started to cross over $2,000 per square foot or even Lentor area, right? But moving forward for Cindior, you can see from a land bid perspective, when we calculate factor in all the costs, likelihood they will be averaging about $2,000 per square foot. So then you have Lakeside Drive also has already been bidded, and the estimated should be about $2,300 per square foot. Dunyan Road should be about $2,900 per square foot, close to $3,000. And the second plot of Chuan Grove should also be hovering about $2,600 plus per square foot. So the question is today, if in today's time, if you know projectly what is going to be projected into the next 6 months or 8 months or 9 months down the road, when the new plots of lands are going to come out and they are at least, so much higher in the further locations, what will you do as an investor so that you do not mess up this new launch season? Okay, so this is something that you need to really, really be careful about. Should you be waiting for the next batch to come out knowing that the prices for their land has already increased? So this is the reason why in this period, there's a lot of homeowners reaching out to us because they want to get clearer. They want to get clarification on what they should do moving forward. So this is also something that you need to be aware of. And a lot of the future land sites that has been released, but of course not tendered yet. We are having Hougang Central. I think this will be a very, very interesting plot because it will be so-called integrated and is also beside your cross-island line. All right, we also have Thomson East Coast, Upper Thomson Parcel A. We have Dorset as well as Telok Blangah. So this is also what is upcoming supply that is going to be in the market. And when will all these projects be released? From 2025, you just have to project about 2 more years that they will be kind of ready. So that's why when we are kind of planning your property journey, it's not a what you're going to buy. I think what you're going to buy is easy. It's about how are you going to exit. All right. So I think this is very important for all of you to kind of take note of. And so the question you have to ask yourself is, so what's actually driving up prices? Okay, so I'll be covering this later shortly. But before we go into that, let us cover a little bit of Penrith. Okay, why Penrith? Because it's a very interesting project that I think a lot of homeowners are also waiting for Penrith. So there's always this segment, right? Those who like Holland will always like Skye or Holland. And then those who like Queenstown, Margaret Drive area, they will go and prefer for Penrith. But if you ask me, both projects are actually very similar, but yet different. I will highlight to you what are the main difference later. But I think both are also high rise, and which is why a lot of them are selling in terms of the view. provided you have the money to actually go higher floors. So I believe the results and outcome for these two projects will be very similar to Prominent Peak, okay, or even Rivergreen. Why? Because these two projects, although they are in the CCR, RCR area, right, they are the high floor units are the one that has been taken up first. So I never say that Singaporean no money to buy property. All right, they actually went for the highest. So the thing is, because it's so difficult to get a project that is unblocked nowadays, because most of the time when you see opposite, you have been blocked. So I think this is one of the reasons why Skye, Holland, and Penrith is going to get a very high traction of buyers who can afford. They want to buy it for a little bit longer term to stay, and they don't mind splurging on the view that potentially is going to be unblocked forever. Okay, potentially it's going to be unblocked forever. So that is the reason why they don't mind paying that kind of fees to get that kind of view for the family lifestyle and enjoying it while you can. All right, so I think this is valid. Of course, it still depends on how much the prices are going to be. All right. So if you look at for Penrith, right? So this is also one of the key differences. Of course, Penrith is of a lesser unit if you compare to Skye, Holland at 462 units. They also have basement car park and all, which is definitely comfortable. And so the key thing is that there's going to be a first story of early childhood development. So this is also something you need to take note of. And being in Margaret Drive, that area, there's a lot of young couples, okay, young families. That's why the BTOs are so expensive, over 1.5 million. If a HDB can be crossing 1.5, 1.6 million, how much should your condo be worth? All right, so we are also going to have a study to see, really, will Penrith future buyers really be there? You know, how would it turn out after you hold on to your property for the next 4 or even 8 years down the road? Will there really be a demand of buyers to buy your property in Penrith? I think this is one of the major questions every one of us we should be asking ourselves whenever we buy a property. So it's never about how you enter, it's about how you are able to exit smoothly later on. And that is one of the key things that we guide in our selection process at the same time. All right. So with this, the number of types, because of the number of units are lesser, you can see that the breakdown are very comfortable. The sizes for the 2-bedroom as well as the 3-bedroom are reasonably sized. I think one of the key things that I kind of see that Penrith will also draw in a lot of attraction is because of the location. You can't go wrong too far with Margaret Drive. And sometimes people are always complaining, oh, the distance is a bit too far away from MRT. But for Penrith, you can see that there's a sheltered walkway and we have timed it ourselves, okay, about 4 minutes. Okay, give and take. Or maybe my leg is longer, so I tend to walk a little bit faster. So I say, can I give you 7 minutes, 7 minutes to walk to Queenstown MRT. And that's why this is also something that is very useful, especially if let's say you're buying for your homestay and you need the transportation to help you get around. And I think this is one of the most ideal situation. So to give you an overview, later on we'll cover also some of the layouts, the site plan, just to give you a good overview. If let's say today you're comparing Skye, Holland, or even Penrith, which one you should go for. All right, although Skye, Holland come first or in terms of ballot. So there's a strategy behind that you want to get yourself into. So for Penrith, standing tall, very nice, 2-story, 40-story tower. I think this is, if you are on top, I think this is why you pay the $1 million view for. Okay, but I think one of the key attributes, if you ask me, I really enjoy for Penrith is that the developer put in certain thoughts to this project. And because if you're high rise, what is the most concerning usually is the distance between each other. If you're too near, then it's like, wow, why would you want to pay such a high premium for? But if you are further away, I think it also justifies for you as a buyer to buy the higher floor units. If you ask me, everybody will want to see the outside view, definitely. But also it also comes with a higher price tag. You can't run away from that. So give yourself a chance to be realistic for once, please, and not have the kind of expectations that, oh, developer is going to sell me cheaper, high floor unit is going to be cheaper than the lower floors. I think these are all wish lists. These are all hope and pray strategy, which you will only get yourself suffering later at the end because your expectation is too high. Okay, so this is something that we do very much with our clients to kind of weigh out, what are the pros and cons between the low floor and the high floors, as well as the different facing within what you can afford. And that's where we will kind of help you to navigate through this, that when it reaches a certain price point, should you be moving forward or you should be just walking away? All right, I think this is very important. So the key thing is that the distance is very comfortable. Okay, the distance is very comfortable. They have a 50-meter pool. All right, so plus the sides, you will at least get about 60 meters away. So they have centralized everything, like the clubhouse and everything right in the center. And I think the key thing about this development is they have facilities that is full facilities with a touch of something that is very rare nowadays. Most of the developers don't build anymore. Okay, you can see that they have a proper court for you. All right, so the distance, I think this is one of the key things that we are seeing, that of course, most ideal, a lot of people may want to get this kind of view that is facing outside. But because of the distance between the inside view, I think it's not too far away. All right, not too far away that you have a 60-meter distance that can help you kind of acknowledge. So there's different strategies depending on how much the developer is going to launch and what is our own affordability to determine where we should be going for. And to give you a quick overview about what are the facilities, you can take a screenshot here. I think generally any developments that they have, everything, this development also have, okay, everything, and also including the tennis court. Okay, a tennis court. If you ask me, is tennis court really something that it kind of value and add on the value to a property? I personally don't think so. Why? Because it's a space where it's limited. So I would rather pay for an area where most people can enjoy it and make use of it. So if it's just a tennis court, then just a few people lah. So for me personally, it's not a priority list on my end when I buy property. So if it's there, it's good to have. So there are many other attributes that we look at. Our facilities is just a very tiny bit of the criteria or decision-making process that we use to help our clients in, and ourselves also. So the key thing is they have facilities on the first floor, and they also have facilities on the second floor. Okay, on the second floor as well. So this is where your clubhouse, your function room, library, your gym, everything goes in, and that's where your swimming pool zone is at. So this is, I think, one of the key elements about Penrith that it is a little bit different, because other than the first floor and the second floor facilities, they have also included the 40th floor. Okay, 40th floor, where it's on the top, and you get to actually enjoy all these facilities. So one of the key things that I always joke, when sometimes buyers, they buy very high floor and then they pay a huge premium, right? Yes, you open your window, you open your balcony, you're able to enjoy those kind of view. But the question is, will you really sit there and just stare at the view for 24/7? And sometimes it may get a little bit boring. Like I have clients who bought for sea view, high floor view. After a while, they also find, it's just like that. Okay, but this is of course different personal preference. Okay, disclaimer first. Yeah, so personally, I also find that if the premium makes sense, then why not? Let's go for it. So that's why the calculation and the designing of your purchase is very important. How much does it make sense for us to pay that premium? Is the premium too much premium to pay for? And ultimately, you can still get to enjoy the view if you go up every now and then. So it becomes more desirable and you enjoy it while it is. And half the time, sometimes you may also just have different celebrations and you go up to enjoy, and that gives you a little bit more fun. Imagine if you are staring at the view 24/7 every day, it's kind of boring. At least for myself. Okay, but this kind of things, hey, once in a while you go up, you enjoyed it, then you kind of relax yourself and say, this is life. Okay, So this is something that you have to also determine again based on your affordability. Are you overpaying for the high floors with such a view? Really comes down to the numbers and data. So how the layout are being set up for the different sizes, you can see from here. The 2 bedrooms, they have 2 sides. Okay, they have 2 sides, and then we have the 3 bedroom as well. Okay, so this is why they are being placed at differently. So I'm going to cover the layout next, right? And because there's different layouts, so I'm just going to pit them against each other. I'm going to just show you the comparison for the 2 bedrooms. What is the main difference? 3 bedrooms, what's the main difference? So that it's easier for you to determine if, let's say, you're going Penrith, and if any one of you want to kind of look into comparing it to other developments, you can just put in the comment and let me know so that I can actually crush out a video quick enough for you to do some comparison, right? Or not, just reach out to us directly and then we can do a one-on-one with you. Okay, so the 2 bedroom main difference, okay, for between the 614 square feet and the 678 square feet, the main difference is definitely the kitchen area. Because for the kitchen, for the 614, we're talking about an enclosed kitchen. Open kitchen. We're talking about open kitchen, and then the 678 is a enclosed kitchen. So this makes a lot of difference because sometimes we prefer to have an enclosed kitchen. The reason is because we want kind of a tidy, all right? You don't see kind of the mess over at the kitchen area. You just get somebody to tidy up, can already lah. So why the difference? Okay, so open concept, although it's kind of open, it gives you the illusion of space. Okay, because the whole area is much more open. Okay, you can see the entire area is much more open. So it does give you the illusion that when you go in, the entire area is wider in terms of space. And when you have an enclosed, the space is kind of being limited to just the walkway area. So the key thing is, that is definitely the key thing that you need to look at. And of course, for 614 and 678, the main difference is 678, you get the additional bathroom. So it's a proper 2 bed, 2 bath, so-called dumbbell concept. Okay, very dumbbell concept. So this is a dumbbell. Okay, dumbbell arrangement. Or else the 614 square feet is only just with 1 bath. So I think based on layout for 2 bedroom, you don't have too much of a choice nowadays. I think interestingly, what they have done is they kind of give you a teaser to go and switch yourself to buy a 2 bed, 1 bath because they have a separate away wardrobe. Okay, so it really saves space. It gives you a wider space even for your master bed to be placed in. So the rest of it, I think, is quite standard for the balcony. Aircon latch is not really counted. They are not giving you a massive size of balcony, which is, I think, a very well thought of approach. So another key thing that you also must take note of is that the 2 bed, 2 bath, for the width of the entrance is wider at 1850 versus the 2 bed, 1 bath at only 1.5 meter. So that does make a huge difference. Because why? Let me just maybe clear this out. Why? Because for the 2 bed, 2 bath, you will have additional space here that you can build your what do you call it? The wardrobe space. Not wardrobe space. Shoe cabinet. Okay, you have space and it is still very comfortable as you are walking into the unit. So today, if you are buying a property at the Penrith area, you also want to make sure that you are getting a decent size property. Right? So what do you think? If let's say today you are buying a 2 bedroom, which kind of layout will you go for? Will you kind of prioritize between an additional toilet, or you want the more efficiency of space for the 614 square feet unit? All right, put in the comment and let me know what you think. So let's go on to the 3 bedroom. Okay, 3 bedroom, the sizes configuration is 786 as well as 850. All right, so I think I've been advising a lot of families and clients that don't just look at the numbers of the space at the moment. Why? Because it may look very intimidating. So small. Because you have been following the past configuration, you're seeing that 786 is a 2 bedroom. How can they squeeze a 3 bedroom? So this is where I will urge every single one of you to give yourself the permission to plan, to kind of go through it and experience it yourself, how the layouts are going to be. Okay, don't shut yourself off because it potentially is ideal for you. It can be livable for you, but you did not go for it just because you look at the numbers. All right, I think it's something I always encourage to have an open mind and then decide later if it's something for you or not. All right, so recently there's also a project that it was highlighted, a very small 4-bedroom. Okay, in terms of numbers, I was also shocked. I was like, huh? How can this be the number? How can this be so small? And when I personally went down to take a look, even with my client, it turns out to be functional, livable, although it is still smaller than expected for a 4-bedroom, right? But I think ultimately, if you are looking at the entry, you're looking at the location, I think that property still have enough for 4 bedrooms, which means every single family members can grow up in that room. Okay, not that you need to shift room. So I think this is something of a new strategy that I think different developers are trying different things to give us the runway that, hey, today you don't buy a property just to sell in 5 to 6 years. You may want to stay even beyond 10 years. And that is why the strategy about holding on to a property or even selling it in a shorter period of time, right, has changed. And once, if you are not in the right strategy, you may be giving yourself the chance not to exit a property. All right, so this is, I think, very extremely important. So coming back to the 3-bedroom, this key thing that you must see the differences is, of course, the foyer orientation. Okay, the foyer orientation for the 786 is longish, and then the other one is kind of horizontal, or this is where the entrance is going to be. Pros and cons, if you are somebody who kind of look into feng shui, where it seems like everybody is talking about this kind of layout is better because your tie never going all the way or something along that line. But typically, if you ask me, I'm looking at functionality more. I'm looking at, hey, how can I place my cabinet and all, or is it actually paying for a space that I cannot use? Because Singapore property in terms of per square foot, not low. So we want to squeeze out every single space that we can, okay, in order to ensure that we have we are paying for what is worth. So I think this is something very important. Yeah, so the main difference is definitely the orientation. And the bigger unit, you have kind of a longer, let me just use a different color. You have a longer living area. I think this is for a 3-bedroom. I think it helps because when you have a longer area, right, which means you can kind of set your dining and your living hall, there's a separation. There's a very clear, distinctive separation. Not the 786 don't have, it's just that they are tighter. So when you're tighter in terms of your living space, then you can't enjoy the space that you're paying for. But I think this is ultimately is about the configuration of the area. And the key thing about this is, of course, being a smaller unit, the cabinet for the toilet are a little bit different. But interestingly, both, at least you have windows for your kitchen. I think this is a must for a 3-bedroom. We have seen projects where even a 3-bedroom you don't have. I think that's something that we need to really consider and tell the developers, please make them more livable, because ultimately when you sell it to the next buyer, these are the small little things that buyers are always looking out for. So if you have missed it just by buying in because everybody says that it's great, then you may be set for your wrong exit when it becomes a resale. Okay, that's very important. Yeah, so typically the rest of it are quite similar, or in terms of space, the rooms. It's just that the master room is a little bit wider as what we have highlighted here. And of course, for this configuration, all the bedrooms, should I say all the 3 bedrooms here, the yard area is limited. Okay, it's limited. So this is the first set of 3-bedroom. So a lot of times, sometimes we will say that, hey, should I go for this kind of 3-bedroom, or should I go for a bigger 3-bedroom? Because these are all under 900 square feet, right? So this usually, if you ask me, the ideal type of family types to buy this, it could be young couples, okay, young couples, or even if you have just 1 kid. Even 2 kids still works a little bit, but 1 kid makes a little bit more sense. I mean, the reason why I say is because of functionality. Yes, the rooms you have enough because you can turn one into study, one is the bedroom, and then you have the master room. So it's just nice. And when you have one kid, the chores, or should I say the usage of space, is you do not need a lot. But the moment when you have a second kid or even third kid, then this kind of configuration could be a little bit tight because it's lacking the yard, it's lacking the store area, which is typically much needed as a proper family to stay on for the next 10 to 15 years. So these are very small consideration factors you need to kind of look into, and not just about how much I can afford, or I just want to get something. If the property is not able to help you to live there comfortably for the next 10 years, then you may want to explore other options. Could there be other options out there that could fit into this criteria, and not just jump into it because everybody says this is the best, sure buy, sure can make money, the kind of narrative that we've been hearing a lot also in the marketplace. So always be mindful. Today, you're buying a property not just to stay, you also want to live comfortably. All right, so take note of that. Very importantly. So if you look at the bigger size unit, the show flat unit is the 1066 square feet. And I think this is one of the nicer layout units that we can see. Again, main difference, the foyer. Okay, you can see that the foyer, one is longish. Yeah, so they both also have their yard space as well as WC. And so this just depends on the configuration. All right, the 936 square feet unit, I think this will be one of the most top choices for a lot of families. Why? Because I'm paying about 100 square feet or 200 square feet lesser, which means in terms of acceptance of prices will definitely be also lower versus the 1066 square feet. And if you look at both, right, the configuration is not too much difference. And I want to pay a huge attention to, they have actually carved out an entire area both for the dining. I think this is important because for 3 bedrooms, we have seen projects where the living hall and the dining kind of merge together. Then when you go to show flat, wow, they have done some fancy design of the layout ID that, wow, you find that it's okay, but it's actually an illusion also. So just be careful whenever you visit show flat. The reality makes more sense, the functionality makes more sense. But I think the important part is that you can see the difference of the living area, or a huge difference versus the 936 versus the 1066. I think this is why, if you ask me, 1066, they make it into a show flat. I think this is also something buyers will appreciate a lot because you have a wider space, okay, and that also gives you more comfortable that, hey, today I'm buying a premium product in a premium location. You don't give me a substandard kind of layout. It's not nice because I pay top dollars for it. All right, the rest of it are quite similar. Or the kitchen area for the bigger unit, you're kind of slightly longer. You can tell directly from the layout. That's why I want to compare both at the same time. The orientation for the yard space, all these things are actually quite common. So if you want to kind of double up the store area into a helper's room, I think it's also functional. Okay, very workable. And I think the other aspect is how 1066 they lay out their master room and to give you a walk-in wardrobe. Okay, I think this is also a very good touch. Okay, a walk-in wardrobe space. And can you see the entire area here? If you want to put a massage chair, it's still possible. Or very comfortable. So this, if you ask me for the 936 or even 1066 square feet, both units, because of the extra space in the living master room, right, is also very ideal for young families when you just have a newborn. Why? Because usually you will put your cot there, or maybe your kids are going to sleep with you. So this extra space helps for you to kind of prepare for their growing up period, where the first maybe 5-6 years they're going to sleep with you in the master room, and then you have enough space to have that, and you have your own privacy at the same time. And then when they grow up, they will each also have their own rooms to sleep in. So I think this is perfect for the configuration. But the question is, let's say today you should be going for a 3-bedroom or a 4-bedroom. Does it make sense for us to pay the extra for the 4-bedroom? Or should I just keep it 3-bedroom and then I just stay put? So this one also allows us to determine, depending on the prices, the differences. So one of the key things that we help our clients in is also to determine if, let's say, I'm going for a higher floor 3-bedroom versus a lower floor 4-bedroom. Which one should we go for? So that's where we will do a lot more deep dive comparison prior to the selection process to help you get clearer in your plans, and then we can help you to move forward in that situation. All right. So for 3-bedroom, this is a 1066 square feet versus the 1173. We're talking about maybe about 100 square feet difference. But you get an extra room for 4-bedroom. So nowadays, I believe some families, they are so big that they really need the rooms. But if you are somebody who no need the room, then you can just consider the 3-bedroom types. I think this is very functional. And the main difference is, of course, again, the foyer width, okay, huge difference, and the kitchen, and also kind of it's quite similar. It's just the placement of all your yard and your WC area. Also, but the 4-bedroom, of course, you will get an extra bedroom. So the rest of it are rather similar. So this is where your decision making comes in, that do you need that extra room really for somebody to sleep in, or you're going to just turn it into like an entertainment room or study room? Then do you really need to pay that extra 100 plus square feet? It's about 100 plus, about 100 square feet more, okay, for that kind of 4-bedroom. So this is why it comes down to selection. During the selection day, what are available? You know, should I pay that kind of extra premium? Is it worth for me to go for that? So this is where we will do a lot more study and to kind of give you a quick indication before we do into the selection process. All right, so if you today you look at prices wise, right? Again, you can see what I've done was kind of just to give you a quick overview, like the 2-bedroom in Commonwealth Tower, right? In terms of the profitability. So for 2 bedrooms in that area, if you use past record, they are on average they also make about 250,000. Just to give you let me use a different color. Okay, also about 250,000. And then for Queen's Peak, and these are all properties that also are not like super old. So that's why I only gathered the younger properties to kind of do a comparison. And the Margaret View is also about 200,000. And then Stirling Residences is about 290,000. So these are the what we call the average 2 bedrooms margin that you are expecting for Penrith at the same time. And if you look at 3-bedroom, of course, being a bigger size for their transactions, right? Their average is close to about 400,000. Queen's Peak is about 340,000 profits. And for Margaret View is about 370. And Stirling, you can have an average almost after 500,000. So again, if you ask me, generally, then like that, I should buying the same trades like Stirling Residences. The key thing is that every project is different, right? Nobody can able to kind of give you a sure how much profits you're going to make. I think this is one of the biggest mistakes sometimes buyers fall into. But believe me, is that there will definitely be a certain benchmark of profitability you're able to get from each project, and that's how the market goes. Because from a land price to the expense, to the cost involved in building, to how the selling price, then our profit, everything is being calculated. So sometimes you will get your expectations too much. That the agent telling me this is going to make this much. Also do hear it from a pinch of salt. Yes, we can use data to kind of give us a good gauge and reference point. But again, who can project what's happening in the future? Who can predict? You see, so those who tell you you sure can make X amount of money, I think you have to run far away. Okay, because it will never happen. But we use past data to give us a certain benchmark to guide us through that. If this is how it pans out, are we in a better position? Okay, I think this is very important, not to jump into the other spectrum of things to guarantee everything. Nobody can guarantee everything. If somebody guarantee you and you accept it, then I think it's your problem. Okay, because nobody can guarantee. Nobody can guarantee what's going to happen to you. Nobody can guarantee what's going to happen when you cross the road. Nobody can guarantee. But we use past data as a reference point and future information to guide us how it's going to be and to kind of safeguard ourselves. So it's the same, right? I can't help you to make a decision in property. But my role is to provide you access into all this research, all this data, numbers that you don't have access into to make an informed logical decision to lower down your risk as much as possible. It cannot be no risk, correct? It has to have some risk. Nothing is no risk, right? So we lower down the risk based on very logical criteria, and then when we are confident, we enter. Then we exit. Okay, you cannot be zero risk, If zero risk, then everybody will want it also. So it's impossible. So even for 4 bedrooms, you can see how it goes. For the 3 bedrooms, they are hovering about 300 over thousand to $500,000. Then for the 4 bedrooms, they are hovering at least $500,000, 400,000. So this gives you a good benchmark that averagely, if let's say you go for a 4 bedroom, this one 927,000. Say again, why Stirling? Because it's just on the right time, right phase of mind. So you use it with a pinch of salt, please. So averagely, if you ask me, let's be conservative. For a 4 bedroom, for me to average out maybe $500,000 should not be an issue, okay, in this kind of prime location. And that's the reason why I pull out some of all these condos, because these are all also nearer to the MRT, and those that are nearing MRT, they're also commanding a good, comfortable price range. And I think one of the key reasons over the next couple of years, for Margaret Drive area, you will definitely see a new pool of buyers that is going to buy back that same location. So recently, I have friends who stay in that location. They've been trying to find properties. They also find it damn tough to kind of find other locations because they're so used to Queenstown Margaret Drive area, right? Then they say, wow, I cannot move out. I cannot move out from this place. I go anywhere also so convenient. I go Holland also convenient. Go Orchard also very convenient. So it really depends on our lifestyle. And that area, that estate, is also an upcoming $1 million kind of families in terms of their properties. So the key thing you ask yourself is, whenever you buy a property, is if you're going to hold it for the next 5 to 8 years, who is going to buy from you next? Will there be a demand in that location? Because if I buy a 2 million, 2 point something million property, I will be selling close to 3 million in future. Will the buyers have the affordability, the income to actually pay for my property? So I've done a scenario just to give you a quick overview, right? That today, of course, we all know about 5 bedroom loft unit bricks HDB record at 1.65 million. Okay, I'm using this as a benchmark just to give you an indication, because this is today's price. In the next 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, will it be more than 1.6 million in time to come? At least if you ask me, anything there will be above $1 million easily. So I'm just going to give you an illustration. If let's say today, because Skye Terrace at Dawson was launched in 2009, right? And during then, right, the 5 bedroom was going about 500,000. And then they sell at 1.6 million. Of course, it's one transaction. Or we don't say you go for a record. We say averagely 1.2 million can or not. It also not bad. You double your returns in this. But I'm just using this because this is the biggest of the news. So let's project that maybe in the next 4 to 5 years down the road, this is the price that HDB will be worth, and people will be buying it very easily. So if let's say they sell at 1.65 million, and I just calculated based on the scenario that they are about 35 years old and they take a LTV about 80%, and we are able to do the calculation that I based on their outstanding loan, after that, the expenses, how much accrued interest, all this we just kind of calculated. So at the end of the day, right, after they sell their Dawson unit at 1.6 million, right, they'll be getting close to 1 million cash. 1 million cash proceeds coming back with their everything in, you see. So this is numbers, meaning when we project it into the next 5 years, 6 years, this is how the numbers are going to show. Okay, and which means based on this, their maximum purchase, they can go up to even 2.3 million. And I'm assuming that it's not a young couple, it's just 44 years old, right? Okay, and their income is also not the highest, it's about 15,000. So, and I even factor in that they have a $2,000 car, because if you're a family, likely you own a car. So we kind of make it very realistic scenario. So this is something that we always do to project how our clients are going to exit in the years to come. Okay, and it's not about guessing your way into the marketplace. I think that's very irresponsible. So if let's say we based on this scenario, then basically their purchase without any top up is about 2.3 million. Okay, and if they want to top up, maybe another additional 300 cash and CPF, they can even go up to even 2.5 million purchase. If they go and top up even more, 2.7 million purchase. So let's say that they are going for a 3-bedroom because they are a young family, they are going to start off. You can see based on Penrith estimated prices, even if they launch it at 2007, 2008 plus per square foot, they can easily go for the 3-bedroom. Okay, this is using a 786 square feet. They can even go for the bigger one if they want. But they are falling into a very comfortable price point. And this price point is what you're entering right now. In the next 3 to 4 years down the road, the market would have already been very different. Looking at the land prices I showed you just now, things are going upwards. So many of you will be asking, so actually what's actually driving up the price, correct? So with this kind of situation happening, you will see that, hey, for Penrith, there's a very strong support for future demand. We're not saying that everyone there will want to buy Penrith, but because Penrith is the youngest, of course you have other competition like Margaret Drive, other Stirling Residences, Commonwealth Towers, Queen's Peak. You have all these condos to kind of compete together. But the bottom line is there's a lack of supply even in Margaret and Queenstown area because most of the developments there are also older already. So the younger ones, the young guns are only these few. So if you today you are you're a buyer, would you rather go for younger kind of properties with better facilities, more modern, or will you go for older properties where the space are bigger? So there's always these two groups of buyers, right? So it's very fair one. But today we are seeing generation change, buyer behavior change. So that's the reason why they are also more favorable to look into properties like the newer ones where everything is more modern. You have better facilities and it's less maintenance also. Okay, so this is also one of the key things why Penrith, if you ask me, it will also garner a good the kind of demand from future sellers from the HDBs because they really can't just move up from there. So the question most importantly is what's actually driving the prices up. So I'm going to give you a quick understanding about prices so that you know the fundamental things that is happening, and that potentially can help you to understand better, to guide yourself into making a more informed decision when you're buying property and not just jump into it because everybody's talking about it. There's hype going on. Everybody says, this one buy, just everything can buy. Every new launch also can buy. Also, to me, I don't believe that. So one of the key things that we use it as an indicator is, of course, the supply in the marketplace. So property in Singapore is a cycle. Okay, property is cycle, real estate is cycle. And this is what we have guided through our clients back in 2019, 2018. Right? So that period, why did we ask our clients to enter into the property market? Because during that time, the supply is at one of the highest in terms of supply. And why are we able to know what's going to happen after 2020? Because the GLS sites are the ones that we use it to monitor where the supply is coming in during that period. So during that time, do we know that COVID is going to happen? We don't know, but we look at the supply going on and the number of supplies moving forward in the next couple of years is going to be lesser. Okay, the supply is coming down, as you can see. So when you do property, when you have a low supply, generally what will happen to prices? Okay, prices will go up. Okay, so this is one of the key fundamentals. Of course, this is just one indicator. It's not the only indicator. So, but this forms a very strong foundation when you're looking at properties, when you should be entering, when you should be exiting. So when we know that this is happening, that's the reason why in 2018, 2019, we also advise our clients to enter into the property market, to ride on it, even though there's a lot of supply. But we are not buying today. Whatever we are buying is not for now. It's really for the next couple of years, because no matter what, you also have to sell 4 years later. So you need to start buying with the exit in mind. Does it make sense? You must buy with the exit in mind so that it can help you to understand further. It doesn't mean that you must sell. We are not saying that you must sell the property, but it does give you a good projection of what's going to happen. All right, so this is what happened. And so during this period, everybody's saying that, well, after COVID, that's why the prices went up, right? We all know that after COVID, the prices went up. Then everybody say, oh, it's because of COVID, prices went up. And this is here I want to share with every one of you. COVID is not the only situation that drives the price up. The main fundamental is still the supply. The supply is already coming down. It's already low in the first place. And when COVID hits, there was not enough supply, or should I say government land sales released by the government, because there was a kind of a stoppage, right? Nobody knows what they can do. So there was a lot of uncertainty. So that contributed to even lesser supply in the next couple of years. So that is the reason why we see prices increasing even quicker. So even without COVID, prices would already have increased, just that not as fast. Okay, so I hope that you guys are learning something here. So please don't blame it only on COVID that prices went up. Okay, COVID is not the only indicator. Because when we study this, right, we saw that today, based on 2019 and 2000 till to 2022, right, the supply has always been very low during this period. Okay, then why we see that the supply went up during that period? Because when COVID finishes, there was a rush demand, right? There was a rush demand to actually create more supply up in the marketplace, because everything is now everything starts off. So you see governments releasing land after land after land to kind of drive up the supply more, so that to kind of do a catch up from what the land sales had been slowing, or should I say almost to a standstill during the COVID period. So this is why we see that today in today's marketplace in 2025, we're still seeing that it's a low supply market. And today we want to catch on the next wave. It's always about the next wave that we want to catch on. And today, based on the future situation, we're going to see that the supply are again going to be increasing up to even 25,000 in the next couple of years. And these are all supplies coming in from different places. So today, when you are looking at buying a property, you want to enter earlier, and no matter what, you have 4 years. No matter what, you have 4 years to hold on to the property. So then you must look at today when you enter, how are you going to exit, right? Everything is about the exit and where you should be heading to, because beyond 2029 onwards, we're going to see a very slow supply coming in again, all right? Because there's just not enough. Government cannot be releasing land every year to have this big numbers of supply. So even in this year, why we are seeing so many land sales is because we are doing catch up to kind of stabilize the market back to norm. So we're doing catch up, and we are still, there's only a limited number of lands they can release every single year, right? So that's why you must always be very careful on this kind of positioning, all right? So right now, when we are seeing the numbers, you can determine that the number of units beyond 2029 right now at the moment, when we counted, is only about 2,000. Okay, so we are seeing there's going to be a sharp decline in terms of properties completion during that period, which means that when there's not enough supply in the marketplace, prices eventually will also head up. So this is why when we are looking at prices, it's always a holistic approach. It's not just about, oh, I want to buy this property, this is where it goes, and this is the best, and I just want to buy it. Okay, so if any one of you who are actually kind of still looking into the different projects, and you kind of want to have a better stabilized assessment about how you should be doing it, then you can scan the QR code for any of these launches coming up from now until October, November. You know, you want to kind of get a better sense before you do it. So I also want to quickly just run through very quickly, just to share with you like how we actually help clients in their property journey. And so it gives you a better indication whether you find that you want to seek a second opinion. Do you need us to help you? And then let's see whether we are able to work together. All right, so the first thing that we always share is in this kind of launch season, okay, we had different launch season before, right? EOK was one, Chuan Park during that period, there's one, and then the last one, Rivergreen. All this, there's always this peak season where a lot of people are getting trapped, okay? Why? Because they keep looking at the property like, oh, this is the one that I will buy and then I will stay in it forever. But if you're staying forever, then it may be limiting your gains. So my role is to help you optimize what you can and maximize your returns as much as possible. So how we help you all is basically, if let's say today you are first time and then you kind of you have watched some of the property launches, or maybe you have already betted before, but you're just sitting on sidelines, you don't know whether are you doing it correctly. Then in this case, then you are able to actually join us and let us work with you. Be whether you're a first-time buyer, you're upgraded from HDB or condos, or maybe you're already an investor that you have done before, but previously maybe you have made some money. but it's all by trying, guessing. There's no systematic approach. Then maybe you want to kind of go through with us so that you don't want to guess anymore. You want a proper set of frameworks, set of systems to guide you through that process, okay, and to kind of help you purchase the right property. Because a lot of times what we saw, most of the buyers who come through us, they have certain challenges. They have challenges that they are unable to overcome, and then they try to kind of figure themselves out. So I just want to list down some of the challenges that potentially this is also something that you are also facing, right? When you're buying a property, you're just basing on few, okay? You don't know whether you should be looking at this stack, that stack. You just say that, whichever prices come out, whichever unit available, I just buy. Okay, all right, so this one is $1 million guess if you ask me. Or maybe if you buy and you just, have the mindset that you just want to stay in. But we're not saying that you shouldn't buy and stay. But it really depends on different profile, right? Different situations. If you're staying in, could you be wasting opportunity? Will you be limiting your ability or your affordability for later on? So there's different guidelines, different objectives that will help you get clearer in terms of your understanding for property. Then sometimes some of you may be chasing launches, right? One launch cannot already, then mine better number no good, then I wait for another one. Then I keep waiting and chasing, and you keep chasing for what? There's only one thing you're chasing. You're chasing for the higher price to pay, that's all. Okay, but what if you have a proper system that can guide you through that? Instead of chasing, you're deciding on which is the project to buy. Also, this is where we come in to help you. And then sometimes when you're hearing everybody, social media, newspaper, everybody shouting, even coffee shop uncle and auntie also talking, wow, this launch, I know that launch is very good. Then this is where I want you all to be very careful. Okay? You have to be extra careful during a launch season like this, because you will fall into the trap of FOMO, definitely. Because everybody is doing it, or everybody is saying how good it is, and then you just jump right into it. So just be careful. Right? So sometimes you will compare this, compare that, compare resale, compare new, compare, and then after that, the time has passed. Then you wait for another cycle and you repeat the whole process. So our role here is not to tell you what to do. Okay, our role here is not to do that. Our role here is to guide you through the process so that you are able to decide based on the various parameters that we have, the various criteria, and these are all data and numbers to decide. Not based on feeling, not based on guessing, or very important. So like ourselves, we also have already turned our own portfolio from 1 million to 5 million using new launch strategy. Okay, so this new launch strategy is really to help us to grow this asset. And things that we are guiding you through is not only for ourselves. Okay, we have also guided our clients in where they have gained almost more than $500,000 in just under 4 years. And then now their net asset value has already increased up to 3.5 million. So it takes time for you to build your net asset value, but we want to do step by step. Okay, we want to do step by step. Again, those who want to come on board with us to grow this net asset value, to kind of use new launch to capitalize on it, is not for everybody else. Because a lot of times, some others, what they are trying to do is they try to push whatever pays them well. Okay, but then pays them well doesn't mean that it will help you. And a lot of people are just telling you, oh, you go for this launch, you cannot then go for the next one, or then you go next and next and next and next. So who ends up suffering? You could be the one falling into the trap because you could be paying for even higher prices overall. But what if you have a process to guide you through to decide on the right property that you can capitalize first, and then you can have an exit plan later on? So our strategy is a bit different because we always like to plan the next 3 moves ahead. Okay, so whatever you're buying today is not you're buying. We have to think about how this property is going to help you for the next 2 to 3 times, again, with a key objective. All right. And today, if you don't want to kind of guess yourself, what we do is we always simulate every single options, and we clear out 90% of the new launches actually in the market cannot buy one. You have to go through this process with your objective to understand, is some of the properties out there, even though it's hyped, is it good for you or not? If not, every project can still buy, but why are there still projects out there, properties out there that don't perform as well? Okay, we don't say that they are losing money, but they don't perform as well. If they don't perform as well, it means that you're limiting your opportunity, you're limiting your time, you're limiting your affordability for later. All right, so this is something that we are very important to look at, and why we always plan the exit before the entry, so that we can continue to do it every 4, 5, 6 years. We'll do it again and again. Okay, so this is something that you need to be very careful. So if today you are kind of in the basis that you do not know what you want to do, and you want to kind of follow through us, then I will really strongly encourage you all to seek a second opinion to really do this systematically instead of guessing. And for us, we kind of cover quite a fair bit to help you all move faster, move smarter. So what do you get usually when you're working with us? Let me show you. So the first thing it will map your entire launch plan, and then we'll show you exactly right where you're exposed to. Okay, some people, some of the buyers, when we are meeting them, we realize that actually they're too exposed. Whether in terms of their monthly mortgage, whether in terms of their reserve funds, they're too exposed that they shouldn't be even looking at that kind of price point. So this is where we act as a filter. We are your devil's advocate to kind of guide you through a safer journey, not FOMO. You're not rushing. You're not like just getting yourself into the property market. That's not our intention. So then the second thing that we will also look at is we will help you to filter all the shortlisted launches. So first we will eliminate almost 90% of the launches in Singapore that basically don't make sense. Okay, and you'll be surprised there are launches in the market that don't make sense, but people are still going for it. We're not saying that it's incorrect. It's just that it may not be suitable for you. So we want to map out and help you to shortlist it correctly. And then we will show you how are you able to move like a legacy investor. So today you are entering with a plan in mind. You're also exiting with a future plan in mind. So this is how you are doing it systematically and not just jumping yourself into it and then hope and pray that everything works out well. Okay, so I think this is important for you all to know. So I think one of the key things that we always want to encourage every single one of you here to do is sit back, take a second opinion, and then understand what is actually going to happen before you move forward. So for those who are following this video, if let's say today you are already intending to go for Skye Holland, which is the launch that's right now going on, you can always scan the QR code and reach out to us and see how we can actually help you. And even though Penrith will be next, you can still reach out to us and see whether you want to compare between Skye or even Penrith or even the future projects that's coming up. What is the most ideal for you? So always remember, my friends, whatever that is being launching right now, they are not the only launches in the marketplace. There's still a lot of the launches. But whether they are suitable for you in your next 5 to 6 years down the road, that is a question mark that you need to seek an answer for. So with that, I really thank every single one of you for watching this video, and I hope that you get insights. And if you have not followed us through this, do subscribe and like this video, and I'll see you guys very soon in one way or another. Yes.